We are generally confronting always pairs of opposites. But all these pairs have sprung from a source which is neither this nor that, which is neither dark nor light, which is neither inside nor outside. It is the transcendental sphere that we must be able to elevate our mind and perception to. This is what we want. So Mahavishnu embodies that. He was lying there, unmindful and insensitive to anything. All these people went, awakened him. He opened his eyes and asked, what is the trouble? They narrate the whole story. Then Mahavishnu says, what does he say? See, after all, Hiranyakashipu is powerful by virtue of his own merits. He has done penance on Brahma, and Brahma has sanctioned all the boons that he wanted. He is actually a counterpart. I cannot conflict with him or contradict him. So he will be shining for some time. One wicked man will be able to muster thousands and thousands of wicked people. If that one wicked man is suddenly liquidated, all the others will not come. Allow them to polarize themselves, and you will find later on all the wicked people will be mustered, gathered, and in one attempt, like moth being burned, they will all be destroyed. This is the course of nature. So this is the background of Prahlada's birth. It was Mahavishnu's design. Now Hiranyakashipu found that Prahlada, his dear son, is given to the superb levels of devotion. Now how to extract this devotion from his mind and heart, dissuade him, and how to make him a lover and a respecter of the father. Not only that, Prahlada as a dear son should also help Hiranyakashipu in executing his mission, that is destruction of Lord Vishnu. This cannot be easily done. So he sensed the gravity of the whole situation and decided to send his son to a very special school where Chandamarkas were in charge of him. He gave special instruction. Try to teach my child only material things. Do not teach him anything supra-material. We have got fourfold Purushartha: Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Dharma means the path and instruction about righteousness. That dharmic wisdom, that is one. Instructions, do's and don'ts, etc. Then by observing the path of righteousness, by following it, acquire riches and resources, wealth, artha. Then enjoy, fulfill whatever desires you have. This is called kama. And finally, through all these things, get free, make the mind free and fulfilled. That is moksha. Hiranyakashipu told them that you should not teach either dharma or moksha. Never speak to him anything about bhakti or moksha. Tell him only about material things, artha and kama. This was the special instruction given to the Chandamarkas, teachers, and Prahlada was being taught by them. Prahlada would listen to whatever the teachers say, but he could not agree with what they said. So he found the teachers were not teaching him properly. So he had his own ways of correcting himself and also sharing the better lessons with the classmates. After some time, Chandamarkas presented the son before the father. We have tried to teach him well in the manner in which you directed us. So please, here is the boy. You can verify, examine him. The father put him on his lap, examined him on 3 occasions, not once. While the examination was going on, Prahlada had something very significant to mention to the father. Naturally, the father would not like. So it enraged the father, threw him into hatred, intolerance, etc. And all that was showered on the boy. So 3 times the encounter took place. Sreemad Bhagavatam describes all this very, very effectively. The first time, the boy was taken to the parent. Hiranyakashipu called him very affectionately, put him on his lap, stroked him, gave him a kiss on his forehead and asked, "My dear son, whatever you have learnt from the teachers in your classroom, I would like to know the best part of it. Will you please tell me what you have learnt best?" This is how Srimad Bhagavata reveals to you whatever moral, ethical and other lessons that you must imbibe. So the first reply the son gives is very, very important. This is the real message of Sreemad Bhagavatam. It gives you a lot of inkling and insight into your own life, household life. See what the child says. Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam asadgrahad hitva atmapadam griham andhakupam vanam gato yadharima ashrayeta. This verse is to be sung by every one of you. Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna diyam asadgrahad hitva atmapatam griham andhakupam vanam gato yadharima ashrayeta. My dear father, I consider that to be auspicious, good and noble. Tat sadhu manye asuravarya. The son addresses the father as Asura Shrestha. Oh, the best among the Asuras. This is what I have learned. Tat sadhu manye. The little boy speaking to the father with such a confidence and clarity. Whether it is Prahlada, the 7-year-old speaks, or whether it is Dhruva, the 5-year-old speaks, or whether it is Shamika Maharshi's son, still younger or a little older, he speaks. Understand that all these are spoken by sage Vedavyasa, Shukamuni, and we, the listeners, the same thing is listened by us. Whether the message is presented through anyone, maybe somebody young or somebody old, we are the adults and there can be young minds also to listen to these narrations. So the speaker is the same, the listeners are the same. So the message is actually a kind of a uniform for all message. The occasions are different, the personalities involved are different, that is all. Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam asadgrahad. This is the plight of the householders. All of you are belonging to this category. What is that? Asadgrahad. You are possessed and over-possessed by the ephemeral, fleeting and transitory objects of the world. We all want to have luxuries, comforts, conveniences. What are these? Material in character. The earth itself is transitory. What about these objects made out of earth's products? Can they have a different plight? Certainly not. We are holding on to our body. But are we the body? Certainly not. When a person dies, his body is burnt. His body is burnt. What? His body is burnt. He is not burnt. Who was that he? Different from the body. Otherwise you will be considered as a murderer. So understand very clearly, when the dead body is disposed of, it clearly gives us the realization that we are not the body. We are the soul. We are the soul. Different from the body. That is the power, the presence that animates and activates the body. But we are holding on to the body thinking that the body is myself. And the relatives of the body becomes my relatives. Asadgrahad, holding on to things which are transitory, which are fleeting. Sada samudvigna dhiyam. The result is that we are always agitated, we are tense, we are afflicted. Our mind is oscillating, we are tormented, a number of conflicts assail us. There is no peace, there is no composure, there is no stability, there is no poise. Sada samudvigna dhiyam asadgrahad. For such people, this being the plight of householders, what do I consider to be good and noble? Hitva atmapatam grihamandhagupam. Srimad Bhagavata Prahlada tells his father, Atmapadam griham andhakupam. I don't know how you will react to my delivery, my statement, my description. It is not my description, it is Srimad Bhagavatam's description. Atmapadam griham andhakupam. This household is actually a blind well. If it is a regular well with a lot of water, even if we happen to fall, we can be saved. Suppose it is a blind well. All kinds of refuses, glass pieces, all the other things will be there. Even snakes and scorpions will be there. Suppose we happen to fall, very difficult to salvage. Atmapadam griham andhagupam. This is a blind well that brings us down. Atmapadam. It makes us kill ourselves. That is what our household is. Leaving that, at least for a short while. Vanam gato yadharima ashrayeta. Go to the forest. Be amidst the natural environments. A number of tall trees will be there, creepers will be there, plants will be there, beasts and animals will be there. You will have enough of air, enough of oxygen. Everything is natural, fresh. Whatever you want to do, you do. Cook a little food, taking natural substances. Your hunger will be less, but taste will be more. Vanam gato yadharima ashrayeta. Going to the forest. This is a respite that every householder should have. Now, this may not be literally possible for you in 100% manner, but understand that to live in a comfortable household alone will not be sufficient to elevate the mind and the intelligence, the heart of a human individual. We construct a house or we buy a house, we live there. There is a lot of interior decoration to facilitate our activity, our life, our residence. Everything is good, I agree. But mind you, it does not answer to the compelling needs of the mind, heart and intelligence. The intelligence must have the subject, the spiritual wisdom, the subject wisdom. The mind must have its poise, joy, rejoicing. These things can never come from the external world, but the mind can generate it out of its own qualitative and value enrichment. Allow the mind to do so. For that you must have an exposure. By Sreemad Bhaagavatam, Inner Spiritual Splendor telecast series, what I am intending to provide for all of you is this kind of an exposure. My dear listeners, you are not the mortal bodies. You are really the spirit, the immortal, which is residing in your body. This inner immortal spirit is the very source of this endless creation. Change your gaze, turn inward, look into the inner splendor, shining there, available there. Try to lick it, try to taste it, try to possess it. Just like you are possessing external items, we possess them, but nothing is with us. Your children are separate from you, house is separate from you, your vehicle is separate from you, fixed deposits also are separate from you. How do you call them that I possess them? You don't possess anything. You don't possess even the air that you breathe. It goes out the next moment. If at all you can possess anything, it is through understanding the presence and the radiation of the inner spiritual splendor that is really there in your system, in your body. So turn your gaze inward, inward, inward. Make the mind pure, pure, elevated and noble. Do not be selfish. Do not be self-centered. Try to be as unselfish and expansive as possible. Think about the inner presence, the supreme reality. Use your intelligence for that. All that you have learned in schools, colleges and other research centers are knowledge of the objects, ramifications of the objects, the various properties and sequences governing the object world. Why don't you similarly try to understand the subject world, your own mind and intelligence, which is the horizon in which the whole extensive external world is reflected and experienced. Suppose I give you 1,000 liters of water. To contain it, you must have a vessel which is slightly bigger than that. In the same manner, if an extensive world is reflected and experienced by me within, in the mind, should not the mind be bigger than what it experiences? Have you any answer for this? Can you deny what I say? So, your mind is not a small mind. It is the mind that reflects and realizes the external world. Whenever you see any object, the object does not enter your system. No, certainly not. I look at the wall remains there, but I experience it within me. The wall has not entered my system. I have not devoured the wall going there also. Nevertheless, I experience it. This experience alone is the proof for the existence of the wall itself. So the mind is everything. Understand the inner infinitude and understand the limitation of the objectude. Between the subject and the object, the subject is greater, it is loftier. In every way, all experiences belong to the subject. Nothing belongs to the object. So if you have joy, if you have sukha, comfort, happiness, it's all generated by the mind. Keeping such a mind which produces all the joy and the comforts, why is it that you are begging before the world? Internally you are the master of the world, not the servant. Allow the world to be a servant and you become the master, the master, the master, the Lord. Physically we are smaller than the world. Mentally we are greater, greater, infinitely so. This is the message that you have to understand. Now, how will you come to know of it? The house members will not tell you about it. Whatever telephone calls you make and you get, all will be speaking about the ephemeral world, that's all. I have a grandson, his birthday on such and such a day, please come. That's all that you will hear. Nobody will invite you for a peep or an entry into your own inner spiritual splendor. So the household will not suffice at all. That is why Prahlada says, Tat sadhu manye asuravarya dehinam. For all embodied beings, this I consider to be promotional, elevating and rewarding. Sada samudvignadhiyam asadgrahad hitva atmapatam grihamandhagupam. Understand your household to be a blind well, blind well, blind well, and leave it. Go to the forest, live in solitude, contemplating upon your own inner spiritual splendor. Observe the mind process. Understand who produces the thoughts. The thoughts are an outcome of thinking. The thinking is generated by the thinker. There is a substance within you which becomes the thinker, gives rise to thinking, produces the thought, the outcome. All these three are not different. Ultimately there is only one. Understand that thinking substance. You will find that it is a spiritual presence. It is not a material entity, nor is it a mere energial power. It is something entirely different, transcendental. That is why we call it spiritual, the divine, spiritual. That nomenclature itself means that. Hitva atmapatam grihamandhagupam vanam gato yadharimashrayeda. In the house you may light a lamp, you may air condition your room, but even then when you sit there to think of the Lord, the mind will be disturbed. So the best will be to say goodbye to the house and go to the forest, remain in solitude and plunge in inner contemplation, he says. Now, this may not be literally possible. We have spiritual abodes, ashrams. I am talking to you from the Center for Inner Resources Development, our ashram in Ghaziabad, in Vasundhara. A number of people come here. We come here normally in the month of October, November, and then in March. We stay for about 3 weeks or 1 month. In March we stay for 15 days or 18 days here, and every day there is some program. People come here. What are they coming here for? To listen to an exposure which is not available to them in their households. You may have a very educated father. Will he talk to you about the inner glory? He himself doesn't know that there is a glory and splendor inside. So how can he speak about it to the children? And what about the teachers in schools, colleges and other research centers? All their research is with the eyes, microscope, telescope. And what are they looking at? An article like this. What is this? What is this? They are not looking into the looker. They are not looking into the observer. I see the sun at a great distance. My eyes are very small and the sun is extremely big. The space also is endless. If the small eyes can reveal the endless magnitude of space, tell me, the looked at is greater or the looking eye is greater? Do you have an answer? I want an answer from your intelligence, not from your emotions. Speak to me confidently and rationally. Is the seer greater or the seen greater? This is the one question. I am not seeing with my body. My eyes are only instrumental. The real seer is within my body. That is what you call the mind. I always say mind is not matter, nor is it energy. So there is a spiritual presence. That presence is everything. The inner horizon is the source of the external horizon. The external hemisphere depends upon the internal, but the internal never depends upon the external. In sleep, you forget everything. You are unconscious of your body, unconscious of the world, unconscious of even the mind, intelligence and ego. Yet you sleep to get up to say, I slept. What is that I which slept? It is not the mind, it is not the body, it is not the world. When the eye was shining there, nothing else shone. All the others are wiped off. But a wiper off is there, that wiper survives. Tell me who is greater. The entire object depends upon the subject. The subject never depends upon the object at all. So the subject, that splendor is what we refer to as the inner spiritual splendor. How could the father tolerate, not to speak of appreciating such a revelation or a presentation from the son? He got angry, dispirited, dejected. Completely dispirited he became, angry also. At the same time he has his parental fondness for the child. So he threw the child from the lap and he said, try again, educate him properly. Quite possibly in your absence some interception is taking place, some intruders are coming to your Padashala, your classes, and somebody should be talking to him all this. A child as it is will not be able to speak so firmly. What is he commenting upon? He is commenting upon the worthlessness of household life. That means even my household is not good in his view. How can it be? So please safeguard against any intrusional instruction and teach him well. They took back the child, tried level best, a little harder. And after a few days, they brought the son again for the father to examine. This time also, the father put him on his lap, fondly talked to him and said, my dear son, will you please tell me whether there is any difference in your understanding, and can you tell me what is good and what is great? What have you learned the best? You know, this time Prahlada gave something entirely different. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnoh smaranam padasevanam archanam vandanam dasyam sakhyam atmanivedanam. My dear father, you know what I have learned, what I have understood? The best for everybody in this world is to worship fondly and exclusively, putting all the reliance and hope the Supreme Lord Hari. What is the manner of worship? The manner of worship is not merely restricted to placing flowers or offering materials. First of all, you should listen to the nature of God, the glory of God, the characteristics of God. What are the ways and behavior of God? How does he think? How does he act? How does he respond to people? All these details are discussed in our scriptures and you should listen to them. A faithful narration is there and that should be receptively heard. Shravanam. Thereafter you should yourself start singing the glory of God. Either chant the name of God. The name of God should be chanted. There are so many songs in honor of God, describing the abstruse behavior or beautiful behavior of the Lord. So a number of classical songs are there, poems are there. Sing them loudly, heartily, openly, wholesomely, with a lot of affinity and fondness. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishno. That Kirtana is the one where it is not murmuring, reading, loudly, preferably closing your eyes, singing the names of the Lord. Hare Rama Govinda Krishna Murare. Hare Rama Govinda Krishna Murare. Hare Rama Govinda Krishna Murare. In a way, all that I recite falls in the category of Kirtana. These are all poems. Every poem has got a meter, and depending upon the meter, it will be interesting, appealing, and its profundity also will be there. We have got a particular meter called Shardula Vikrididam. If I am not wrong, it consists of 19 letters in one quarter. 4 quarters make a full poetry or a poem, a stanza. Always it is very beautiful, and profound ideas come forth when you compose poetry in that particular 19-lettered meter. We have Sraddhara, 21 letter, that is the maximum in a line. And different types. The common one is called Anushtup, 8-lettered quarter. Listen to what Prahlada says. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishno Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. These are 4 distinct limbs of true practice of devotion. First of all, listen to godly elements, godly narrations. Then start singing loudly the names of the Lord or some of the songs on Lord. Smaranam, always you cannot be doing it. So you have to remember also. Whenever you are not able to sing, whenever you are not able to listen to, don't leave the subject. You have to remember Smarana.